So let's quickly learn how we can make this contact form, which is like sticky and floating, and no matter how much you scroll, it will just stick to your page. And you could do it with free Elementor, so you don't really need Elementor Pro for this one. So you can see how this works, and when it goes to tablet, it turns to like the full screen. And when we scroll and make it smaller, and you could do it in this way. And the best part is you don't have to make it look like this. You could make with any design, or if you wish to add some any other content inside of it, you could always do that. So how about we quickly do that? And before we do that, let's go to this page. And let's say you don't want to start from scratch. You can simply just go to my page. I'll link this in description. Click download now, download, and then you will get this file. And again, if you use the links in my description for like Elementor Pro or Hostinger, or go to the recommended WordPress tools, or just click here and use any of the links, that way you could support me. And yeah, that's the only way you could support me, or like doing like subscribing or liking or anything else. So how about we get started and make this pretty quickly. And before we start, I'd like to show you something. Let's say if you download it from this template. I don't know why it's not loading yet, but basically in this template you could see you will get this container, you will get this CTA form, and all you need to do is copy this CTA form to wherever you want it to be. It can be any container, you don't have to worry about this one, but it's good to keep on like the first your hero section, so that you know it's you can find it very easily. And this is the code that we are going to use. And again, if you don't understand anything, it's totally okay, but I still recommend to watch the video full, so that you know what things to change, because even if this is the design that I'm providing, you will need to make your own personal design. So you will need to do some changes, and I'll show you soon. But how about we just start by making our first form. So first we just need to make a form. So let's add a container. And inside of this, I will add our form container. So this is our form container. I'll make this full width. I'll add some pixel and make it 500. You could do any sizing or however your form should look. We need to make sure we name it so that we know what is what. So I'll call this like main form. Inside of this, I will add another container. This one would be our button. So this leave a message. This section will be our this container. So let's call this like form click. And how about we start coloring this so that we know what we are doing. Choose like a good color. I'll just choose like a random one for now. For the inside form click one, I'll just add like another color so that I can know what we are doing. So let's do something like this. Now inside this form, or not inside the main form, we will actually remove the padding so that you can see how this looks. But this makes one issue, that we cannot click it. We cannot choose like this two forms individually. So make sure your navigator is on so that you can just click around. In the form click one, I'll just make it have a row left to right, and then add our heading. I'll call this like leave a message. You can call it anything. Let's make it white like this. And here I'm going to add an icon. And this icon, if you want to check, so you can see sometimes it gets a bit annoying to add it. So what you could do is just click on the container that you want to add, go here, search for it, and then just click once around here, and you could see this is what's happening. And if you're hearing like horns, like the horn of like car and stuff, then just ignore that. It's like very high traffic right now because everyone's coming from their job. So just make sure you make it like space between so that it's here and there like this. I'll add this as the down arrow. Make this, let's say 30 pixels. I'm just using random value right now because I just want to show the main functionality, and just you guys can focus on making it however you wish it to look like. So leave a message like this. Now inside of this, I need to add another container, but before that, in the main form, I'll make this like 550 height, something like this, so that we know there's like a specific height for the form. And while clicking the main form, I'll just click on container. And what it will do is it will basically add another container below that. You could obviously drag and drop, but it kind of gets buggier because it's harder to sometimes use it drag and drop. So that's all we will do. Let's just full width. I'll call this like form because this is where we will add form. I'll make this grow so that if you guys see this, you can see this icon or this line. If I do grow, it goes till the bottom like this. To explain to you guys in a better way, let me just color this one. Now this is the size, but if I do grow, it will automatically change it to that size or whatever the container is. Inside of this, we will add form. Again, I am using Elementor Pro, so I have form option here. But if you don't have Elementor Pro, what you could do is you could get WP Form or Contact Form 7 plugin and then use like something else like Essential add-ons for Elementor or Premium add-ons for Elementor plugin, which adds like more widgets, and that those widgets have option to like customize the Contact Form 7 or WP Form 7, or use whatever form plugin that you want to use. I'll use Elementor Pro. And again, if you wish to get Elementor Pro, just use the link in description, and that's one way to support me. And it's just better, you just have to worry about less plugins. That's always better to do, or have less plugins that do everything for you at once. I'll just design it however you wish it to be like. I'll just, call this temporary purposes anything. Okay. Customize it however you want it to look like. And the reason why I leave some extra space around here is because if I go here and type something like, you can see that if I do send, it will add a message around here. And then you might be wondering, why should I leave extra space around here? In this one, if I go into my form, which is in the template one, if I, let's say, duplicate this one, you could see it adds a scroll bar around here. And the reason why I added a scroll bar in this template is because you might have a bigger form that you want to add, but it's usually not good to have like big form if you're on mobile. And if you don't add a scroll, it would be like too big. It might even be bigger than the screen. So having a specific height would just help. And if you know CSS, you can actually remove this scroll bar and make it look a bit better. It's very easy to do. You could just Google it and basically just add it in here in your custom CSS, and it will just make it look like prettier instead of having that scroll bar. But again, if you wish to, let's say, not have this scroll bar, you could simply just get the main form and then increase the height. But now let's go to our tutorial form that we are making right now. And there you could see that's some spacing because in our main form, there's like default padding like this. So depending on whether you want to have that or not, it completely depends on you. I'll just keep it like this for now. Now, the main thing that we need to do is in this form, I should show you what we are going to need. So we are going to need CTA form class. We are going to need CTA icon class. We are going to need form container class. And then we are going to need this one. Okay. Again, I also forgot to show you one more thing is I actually have created a blog post where you will actually get this code. So you can simply go around here and then basically click on copy and you will get this code. And it also has like which form container or which CSS class is used. But basically this is what we are going to do. Okay. In the main form, we are going to call it CTA form. Okay. In the advanced class. And usually we use like C smaller. So for example, this one is like the right way to write CSS class, but I forgot to do this for this and I'm way too lazy to actually change it. This is, even though it works, it's a good habit to write the first letter like small, but just ignore that for now. So for the main form, we call it CTA form. For the form click, we will call it as CTA form click. For the form container, which is this one, we'll call it form container. And if you don't wish to add the scroll bar, you can just leave this. And then we have got CTA icon, which is this one. And the reason why we need to do CTA icon is because if you click on here, you could see it just turns into this upside down arrow. We are basically flipping the icon. And again, by default, there's like some extra margin that is added. So you could do -10 and it will remove that extra margin. Now we actually added all the classes, but we have to add the code now. So how about we go into our main form, click here, and I'll just click HTML, and you can see that it gets added at the bottom around here. And so you can see the scroll bar is showing, but if I just make it smaller, it will not show because this one does not have any space, but it usually takes a little bit of space. And that's why what I like to do is I like to go into responsiveness and just hide it completely, because the code is still going to run and I don't want it to take like a even little bit of space. It just takes like few pixels of space. For time being, I'll just leave it like this. Okay, in the HTML, let's just copy this one, and I'll explain to you what this code does. But for time being, let me just do this. Now we have added our code. If I update this, it will not work in our editor. We need to check in our main page. Let's go down, and here you could see that the animation is not happening. Okay, I was being stupid. I actually had a fail. I tried to record the video before and I actually had this done already before. So once you add like the code twice, it just does not work. It only works for the top one. You could see that it only works for the top one. So I actually had to delete it. So make sure you only add one. And I was like confused why it was not working, even though I did everything right. And then let's copy, refresh. And now you could see that it is working. I know it's a bit buggy because we actually haven't added the position class, but this is how it works. And I was confused for a while, okay, like 5 minutes I was trying to search for the issue, but I actually just had a duplicated one, a failed recording attempt before. So you can see it works, but let me just like remove this color. I'll make it white and then make it like slightly different so that we can see the second container a bit. Let's update it. So make sure you do use like this right classes, because here I have given like right classes. This is what it should be, CTA form click. I should add this here. I forgot to add it here, but make sure the C is capital around here, else it would like not work. Now you can see that it actually changes the icon perfectly. We also got our form, and then there's a bit of this stuff, but it's only because we have added this one. So if I just remove this one, or not remove, just hide it, the code will still run. You can see that the code will still run, and obviously there's some issues, but I'll show you how to fix that. We will actually go into our main form. We'll go into our position and fixed, because we want it to be on whole page and not just on like this container. Once we do fixed, you could see that it gets stick to the whole screen. Then I'll make it go to right and then make it go to bottom, so that it's like at the right and the bottom. Now you can see it's a bit behind everything, so we will just give it a padding of, let's say 999, something high. Make sure you are doing it for the main form and not to everything. Now we can actually give some spacing to move it from how much you want the distance from like the screen. So I'll just give it like 2%. I want 2% away from this one. And now this is one thing that you need to know. Now if you wish to have some space below, you could add some like 20. But if you don't want to have space below, make sure it's 0. And then what I'll do is, now remember that you need to actually hide this one to find the right value, but I'll keep it on for now to show you why you need to do that. So if I go below in negative direction, you can see that I can actually just find the value that I want. So let's say I want it to be this much below. And I have one more thing I forgot to show you. This button, which is like the form click, if I go here, we should actually have some specific height given to it, because it's just good to have a specific height here. And then we will just make it, let's say, go till 480. Let's go a bit about, let's say 475. So negative 475 is the value that I have chosen. And if you go into my script, which is this one, which we have copied in our HTML, where is it? in this HTML, you can see there are 3 values around here. Function to move the CTA form down. Now here we have called it like main form, but in the tutorial one or in the template it's called CTA form. Basically in the function move down, we just need to change these 3 values. And let's say if you want to have 3 different values for mobile, tablet or desktop, in case you have added like different contents for form or extra contents in form, or just have done some changes and you want to have 3 different values, you could do that. But for this one, I'm just going to use -475, -475 and -475, and I know that it will not work because one thing. So let me just show you what that one thing is. So let's just refresh it, and here you could see that even though in this one we see this let's say this small what you call blue color line, in this one it's not visible because in this one we actually haven't hidden this one, so hidden the HTML tag. So if I let's say remove it or make it to main form go to 0 like this, you can see that this is actually taking some space. So what you need to do is you need to actually hide this and then find the perfect value that you wish to. So I'll do, let's say, -465, and all we need to do is change it to -465, -465 and -465. Copy this one, go to HTML, paste it, or just change the value inside of this too. And now if I refresh it around here, you can see that this is what's happening. We get the perfect value no matter how much we click, like this. And another thing is, if you wish to have some space below, all you need to do is go up. In the move up, you need to change these values to whatever you want. So if you want it to be 20 pixels above, you could just change this to like 20 pixels above, like this, and make sure the default value is like 20 pixels, or actually it doesn't matter. You don't need to do default value, but this is basically what we just need to do. And a quick summary of what the code is, or what we are doing extra stuff. Before that, I know I'm going like randomized, but just bear with me. If I do tablet portrait, you can see you have to do some changes around here. And one more thing that I completely forgot to do in the main form. So let me just go into this one and then make this, I guess, default, because I want to do some changes. This form should actually be absolute if you wish to have the scroll bar when it's big. If you don't add the scroll, if you don't make it default, what would happen is, if I keep adding this one, it will keep making the form a bit bigger like this. So what I need to do is I need to go into the form, make this have position absolute, make it be at the top, and then make it be at 0. If you remove this, it will be in the middle, as long as you have chosen this to be at the middle like this. And what we will do is, around here I'll give this, let's say, 10 padding like this. Now what would happen is, it would not be considered taking any space. So if you keep adding more stuff like this, it will not go below this height. It will not extend the container at all. And it completely depends on your preference if you want to do that or not. But this also adds another issue. So let me show you guys. Let's say if I make the width to be like a lot bigger, you can see that this is what's happening. It's not being like perfect, and it might not be important for the desktop version. But if I go to my tablet version, and for tablet I want it to be 100%, I want this to be like 100%. Let's wait for it to load, and you can see it's not being perfect. So all you need to do is go here and then choose it to be full width, or you could go into custom and then type 100 like this, and it will do the same thing. That way it would always be perfectly to this size. Remove the, and obviously it all comes down to like removing the, well, you don't need to worry about this because you will be making it into fixed. So just make sure you do all the things around here. And quickly to go over on code, CTA form, which is our like main form, this one, like the total complete form, it takes 0.5 seconds to go from bottom to up and up to down. So if you want it to be slower, you could make it 1 second. If you want it to be faster, you could make it like lower seconds, like 0.3, 0.2, whatever you want. CT icon is obviously this thing. So when you click on this, it changes it to like bottom to up. And let's say if you don't want to have this flip animation, but if you want to have some rotate animation or anything else, you could just add any CSS class around here for animation, and it will apply it to this one. So if you, let's say, make it something like this, like rotate 180 degree, something like this, it will change it to the rotated animation. Same with CT icon, how fast you want, how slow you want it to flip. Then this one makes it have the scroll bar, which we added. If you don't want the scroll bar, you could remove this code. Now this all is JavaScript, where you will need to learn JavaScript if you wish to do that. But simple way to show you what you need to change is if window inner width is 767. So by default, Elementor has, you see, for tablet it considers 1024 and below. For mobile it considers 767 and below. So if you are using your custom values around here, you will need to change it to, let's say, change this to whatever custom values you are using. Same with here and here. And this one is to move up, so from bottom to up. Change these values like I've said for mobile, tablet and desktop. And this one again mobile, tablet and desktop. And this one basically adds like the flip animation to your form, which is this one. And all you need to do is, once you have done all changes, make it go fixed like this. And now it should just work perfectly. So you can say it just works perfectly. And then you could add your form details, anything that you wish to, customize it however you want. And yeah, that's all. I hope I didn't forget anything. And if you get the template from like this site, this from my download section, you could decide to support me, and also like make sure you copy this to whatever you want, and then do changes to it however you wish to by changing the HTML tags around here. Yeah, and that's all for this video. Bye.